It was a disgustingly realistic plastic novelty, like one I'd left on the teacher's desk at school. Boy, that caused so much of a stink you'd have thought it was a real one. As my fingers closed on the plastic novelty, I realized my mistake. It was a novelty, all right, but it wasn't plastic. No way was I gonna touch that thing again. No way was I gonna touch that thing again. It was an antique phonograph, the kind you have to wind by hand. The guy's spoon-shaped face was mournful and humorless. He looked like a vegetarian in a slaughterhouse. Excuse me.
Bonjour, monsieur. Please, come in. Welcome. Leave the mundane world behind, for in these four walls, fantasy is king.
I don't want a costume.
Didn't you ever dress up when you were a child?
Not that I remember.
Incredible. You'll be telling me next that you never shared your elder sister's lingerie.
I don't have a sister, and I think I'd look pretty silly in a brassiere. I just need some information.
Of course. How can I help you?
Do you recognize this man?
Oui, monsieur. I sold him some grease paint.
Are you sure this is the man who bought grease paint?
Oui, monsieur.
Are you sure this is the man who bought grease paint?
Oui, monsieur.
Does this dirty tissue mean anything to you?
Let me smell that. Bestheimer's number 7 white pancake.
Theatrical grease paint, right?
Oui, monsieur. La crème de la crème of Thespian accoutrement.
Have you sold any of it recently?
Yes, 2 cans.
Do you want this red nose back?
Not after it's been worn, thank you.
About this tissue.
I have already given you my professional opinion.
What does this tool mean to you?
Nothing, monsieur.
I'm looking for a man who hired a clown costume from you.
The man whose photograph you showed me, he hired 2 costumes.
2?
Yes, Bozo the clown and Seamus the pixie.
What was his name?
Khan, a Middle Eastern man, I would think.
And did he have the scar on his face?
That's right, in the shape of a crescent moon.
How come clowns are so popular?
I think it has something to do with their unpredictable nature.
Personally, I think clowns should be banned, along with mimes.
Oh, come now. Who doesn't love clowns?
Me, for one. Have you heard of a man named Plantile?
I do not recall anyone of that name.
Are you sure this is the same man who hired the clown suit?
Certainement, Monsieur K.
Are you sure this is the same man who hired the clown?
Certainement.
Thanks for your help, buddy.
My pleasure, monsieur. Allow me to shake you by the hand.
Huh? Well, okay. What are you trying to do, kill me?
You did not find it amusing?
I never saw the funny side of electroshock therapy.
Eh bien, it is yours to keep. A gift?
Do I need a license?
No, but I give you a word of warning, monsieur.
What?
Remember to switch it off before you visit the toilet.
Salut, George. What news?
I've been to the costume shop.
Yeah, I like it. What are you supposed to be?
I didn't hire a costume. These are my clothes and you know it.
Did you ask about the clown?
Yeah. He used the name Khan. He hired 2 costumes, the clown and a pixie.
Then we're one jump ahead of him.
How do you make that out?
He probably plans to use the pixie suit next time he kills.
Oh, God, don't let it be me. I don't deserve to die at the hands of a pixie.
Don't be silly, George. That won't happen.
Oh, no?
No, because every time you see a pixie, you're going to run like hell.
The guy at the novelty shop gave me this.
What is it?
A hand buzzer. You put it in your hand and give people electric shocks.
Why?
It's a gag, a practical joke.
If you ever use it on me, I'll break your arm.
Okay. I get the picture. Do you want this photograph back?
No, you keep it. I can always make another print.
What are you doing to help trace the killer clown?
Research, George.
Yeah? You have a copy of the clown's yearbook?
I have a telephone and lots of contacts.
Oh, well, did you find anything useful?
Not yet. I'm employing my first and most useful weapon.
What's that?
Patience.
Oh, I've heard of that. Isn't it a substitute for decisive thinking? Have you found out any more about the murders?
Well, it may be nothing, but both the clown's victims visited Paris earlier this year.
When?
The second week of July. They were both here at the same time.
Did they meet?
I don't know, but I can't imagine it was coincidence.
Did I show you this tissue?
Yes, George. I asked you to get rid of it.
Hey, Nico, shake hands with me.
No chance, Buster.
May I use your telephone?
Sure, go ahead.
Thanks. Hello? Who is this? I found out the name of the guy I'm looking for. Is that so? Yeah. It's Khan. You know who I'm talking about, don't you?
Yes, I delivered the suit to his hotel. The Hotel Ubu. I don't remember the room number. It was upstairs. The second room on the right-hand side of the corridor.
Thanks, Todrick. That's all I wanted to know. Now I've got you, Mr. Clown. Now we're getting somewhere. Do you know the Hotel Ubu?
The Ubu? Yes, I do.
That's where the clown stayed.
Good work, George.
See you later.
Where are you going now?
I could go hang out at the Hotel Ubu.
Watch out for Khan, George.
Don't worry, I will. The guy looked just like a weasel. The man looked like an amiable Bigfoot. The sign listed the price of rooms, and boy, were they expensive. The killer must have been earning a fat wad to pay for accommodation like this. The lobby was quiet, almost deserted. Excuse me.
Yeah?
Shake my hand.
Nah.
Oh, rats. See you later.
Not if you see me first.
Excuse me.
Yes?
Will you shake my hand?
Are you joking? Who knows where it has been?
Forget it. Hi.
You're the guy who gave me the tip, aren't you?
Huh?
The racehorse. Saladin.
Oh, yeah, but
I put every franc I had on that horse.
listen,
My lifetime savings, next month's rent, everything.
Oh, God.
She won by 3 lengths. I'm a rich man.
Call me Lucky George, the punter's friend. So how come you're still here?
Ah, I'm not going to let my newfound wealth change me, not one bit. I bought this hole, fittings and all. Now I can come and go as I please. No more clocking on or completion schedules. No foreman breathing down my neck. Thanks to you, I've found paradise.
I'm getting a mushy feeling in my chest. But not half as mushy as your head.
What do you want now?
Would you like to shake hands with me?
No, I wouldn't. One of the real pleasures of being rich is not having to be polite.
Do you recognize the man in this photograph?
No, I don't.
I gotta go.
Don't let me keep you.
Hello again.
Yes, Inspector.
Shake my hand. Go on, shake it.
You're joking, aren't you? Nothing personal, but you've been mucking about down this sewer.
Do you recognize the man in this photograph?
Yes, I do. It's that villain I told you about.
Wouldn't you like to shake my hand?
Frankly, no.
I have to be going.
Good luck, Inspector. I hope you catch that killer soon.
Oh, hi.
Hello, my handsome friend.
Would you like to shake my hand?
No, I wouldn't. I can see the future, remember?
Do you recognize the man in this photograph?
What a hunk.
He's a killer.
I can see that. His eyes say it all.
Do you recognize the man in this photograph?
No, dear.
See you later.
That's right, monsieur. You will.
Excuse me?
Ah, Monsieur Stobart, n'est-ce pas?
That's correct. You remember me.
The retention of such data is part of my duty as a gendarme. That is how crime is fought, through attention to detail, not intuition.
Yes, sure. Would you like to shake my hand, Sergeant?
Not while I'm on duty, monsieur. The gesture could be misconstrued.
Do you recognize the man in this photograph?
Non, monsieur.
It's the guy who bombed the cafe. The clown.
This man looks nothing like a clown.
He's taken off his grease paint and costume.
Then there is nothing to link this man with the killing.
Nothing? Look at those murderous eyes.
Hardly likely to get him convicted.
Do you recognize the man in this photograph?
Non, monsieur.
It's the guy who bombed the cafe. The clown.
This man looks nothing like a clown.
He's taken off his grease paint and costume.
Then there is nothing to link this man with the killing.
Nothing? Look at those murderous eyes.
Hardly likely to get him convicted.
Do you know a man named Khan? He's a shifty-looking guy with a scar on his left cheek.
No, monsieur. Has this man any connection with the bombing of the cafe?
Yes. I believe Khan was the name he used when he hired the clown costume. Is Rosso here?
Yes, he is. You wish to speak to him?
Yes, I do.
One moment, monsieur. Stobart is here to see you, monsieur.
Did he say what it was about?
No, monsieur.
Very well.
Hi, Inspector. Remember me?
But of course, Mr. Stobart. My mind is a well-ordered faculty. A mental classification system that's the envy of the Bibliothèque Nationale. No tricks, mark you, monsieur. Just exercise. Just as our muscles waste through inactivity, so our minds decay. But there is no need. If only people would learn to exercise their wits daily.
If he was trying to impress me, it worked. He was pompous and patronizing, but he had style.
Eh bien, if you called about the bombing, you're too late. Investigations have been closed.
But
I've been taken off the case.
what about the murderer, the dead guy?
It is out of my hands.
Would you care to shake my hand, Inspector?
Please don't be offended if I decline your offer, Stobart. The palms of my hands are particularly sensitive.
Do you recognize the man in this photograph?
No.
It's the face of a killer.
The man who bombed the cafe?
The photograph was taken soon after the explosion. He'd escaped through the sewers, leaving a trail of clues behind him.
Circumstantial evidence, Stobart. None of it proves a thing.
Did I show you this photograph?
Oui? You're still convinced he is the killer?
Absolutely. I found this tissue in the sewer.
It would have been best if you'd left it there.
Does this red nose mean anything to you?
I'd imagine it means you have not given up your pursuit of the clown.
You're absolutely right. Don't you want to know what I found out about the killer?
I told you, monsieur, the case is closed. I have washed my hands of the whole affair.
Then I'll have to continue my investigations without your help.
No, you must forget the business of the clown completely. Go back to being an ordinary tourist, Stobart.
What was that psycho-detective business you did in the cafe?
It is my theory that the passions evoked in violent crimes create ripples in the ether. Invisible to all but the possessor of a highly developed and receptive mind.
I'm impressed. Can you bend spoons, too?
I didn't think a man of your obvious intelligence would stoop to mockery.
I'm not mocking. I've had personal experience of the power of the mind. I used to get ignored at parties, until I read a book that changed my life.
Really? What was it called?
Hypnotism for Fun and Profit. He looked at me as if I'd farted at a funeral.
The power of mesmerism is a rare gift, not a party trick.
You're not gonna try any of that psychic interrogation on me, are you?
Do you find the thought of my probing distasteful?
Let's just say I'd rather you didn't. I've got more doubts than doubting Thomas when it comes to mysticism.
Too bad. I think you would make an interesting subject under controlled regression.
The day I let anyone mess with my mind hasn't dawned yet. Did you find out the ID of the guy who was killed in the explosion?
I already knew who he was.
I heard that the bomb victim's name was Plantar.
Your sources are reliable.
He was a big shot at the Treasury, wasn't he? Maybe that's why you've been taken off the case.
I'm sorry, monsieur. I cannot comment.
What do you make of this, Rosso?
It is a tool for gaining access to sewers.
So long, Inspector. The woman was obviously English. She had all the qualities of Boadicea, Elizabeth I, and Margaret Thatcher rolled into one. It wasn't a pretty sight. I recognized the guy. It was the Nobel Prize winner from the country whose name I couldn't pronounce. Excuse me, didn't I see your picture in the news? You're that Nobel Prize winner from some unpronounceable Eastern European state.
Yes, that is me, in person.
I don't want to worry you, but have you had any threats on your life? You know, mysterious phone calls, letters made up of headlines cut from the newspaper.
I don't know what you're talking about.
May I shake you by the hand?
I do not shake the hands of imperialist dogs.
Now that's a real bad attitude problem you've got there. Thanks for your help.
Goodbye.
It was a magnificent old Steinway piano. I figured the lady at the keys wouldn't appreciate a duet with a musical illiterate like me. Hi there, ma'am.
Well, hello. What can I do for you?
I'm looking for a man.
You disappoint me, my dear. For one foolish moment, I thought. But never mind. Aren't you going to tell me your name?
George Stobart, ma'am.
How sweet! I once had a stable boy called George. I am Lady Piermont. The common reaction is to kneel and stutter, but it's not obligatory.
A real lady? I mean, you're an honest-to-God aristocrat?
Oh, I don't know about that. Few of my ancestors were honest, not even to God. I can trace my family back to the Normans, but don't let that intimidate you, George. Beneath that impressive pedigree, I'm just flesh and blood. The blood may be blue, but the flesh is the plump beef of old England, so to speak. You appear distracted, George. Is there any way I can help you?
Would you like to shake my hand, ma'am?
Now, George, there's no need to be so formal. We met as tourists, and I want to keep it that way, despite the enormous social gulf between us.
In the ornate booth was the most elegant public telephone I'd ever seen. It was the register of guests staying at the hotel. Hanging from a brass hook was a key and a plastic tag.
Excusez-moi, monsieur.
What?
You are trying to steal that key, no?
No way. There was no one registered under the name of Khan. If the killer was staying here, he'd used a different pseudonym. The clerk wore a disdainful expression, like he'd been born with it. I want some information.
Who are you, the police?
I'm conducting a private investigation.
Ah, I know only too well what you mean. That is one of the drawbacks of the catering business. When people book into an hotel, they leave their morals at home, no?
Hey, shake my hand.
I'd rather not, monsieur. I'm still sore from the shock administered by one of the guests. He was secretly concealing an electrical device in the palm of his hand. Practical jokes are so puerile, don't you think?
Oh, yeah, sure. Hey, shake my hand.
I have already explained why I would rather not.
Do you recognize the man in this photograph?
Yes, monsieur. That man is one of our guests.
What name?
I cannot tell you that.
Can you tell me which room the man in the photograph has taken?
Oh, no, monsieur. That information is confidential.
Would it make a difference if I told you the guy in the photo was a murderer?
We are accustomed to catering for celebrities, monsieur. Movie stars, politicians, royalty, sporting personalities, they all stay here.
Did I show you this photograph?
Yes, you did, monsieur.
What do you make of this tissue?
Do you wish me to dispose of it for you, monsieur?
Hey, no! It could be useful. I'm holding on to this.
As you wish, monsieur. Perhaps you would like a little plastic baggie to keep it in?
Nah, it's fine the way it is. Do you have a guest by the name of Khan?
No, monsieur. Perhaps you would care to check the register.
The man who calls himself Khan has a scar on his left cheek.
Vraiment? I tell you, I do not know a man named Khan.
Maybe not, but I'd noticed a change in his expression when I mentioned the scar. I'm looking for a man who dresses like a clown.
This is a highly respectable hotel, monsieur. There are no clowns here.
If you say so. Do you know a man named Plantar?
No, monsieur.
About the key hanging on the hook over there.
Oui, monsieur.
Which room is it for?
Number 21.
Is that room taken?
No. The guests checked out this morning.
I'd like to check into room 21.
That is not possible.
How come? You said it was vacant.
It is reserved for another guest.
Rats.
No, monsieur. Dutch.
Thanks for your help, buddy. The sign on the door read 21. The door was locked. The sign on the door read 22. If the tailor's description was correct, this was the killer's room. Room number 23. The door was locked. The door was locked. Hello again. Do you recognize this man? He calls himself Khan.
Yes, I know this man. Why do you carry his photograph?
I'm a private detective. This is a photo of Khan, right?
That is just one of the names by which he is known.
Have you seen a clown?
I beg your pardon?
The clown. A guy in funny pants. Have you seen him?
My pants are from England, Marks and Spencer. They are a pleasure and a comfort to wear, with much support.
I'm real glad to hear that. You know, it's good to know you Nobel Prize winners are human too.
In my country, the people make do with string and egg cartoons.
For pants?
For everything. Oppression is the mother of ingenuity.
Do you know a guy called Plantow?
I don't know anybody in Paris.
Oh, well, this guy's dead anyhow.
Why do you ask me about dead men? I have seen enough of death to last me a lifetime.
I'm, sure you have. Does this goo-smeared tissue mean anything to you?
No, it doesn't.
Thanks for your help.
Goodbye.
Hi, ma'am.
Hello, George. What can I do for you now?
I just couldn't bring myself to use the buzzer on this dear lady. Do you recognize the man in this photograph?
My God, it's him. That's Merlin.
She represented everything I loved about the English. The lady was totally deranged. Merlin? You mean King Arthur's wizard?
Good heavens, no! Monsieur Merlin is a fellow guest.
Did I show you this photograph?
Yes, darling.
Does this tissue mean anything to you?
Good God, no!
I just thought the smell might be familiar.
Please, darling, put it away. I'm no shrinking violet, but that object makes me feel quite queasy.
Did you know there's a gangster out front?
What makes you think he's a gangster?
The Italian suit and the bulge in his pocket?
I know plenty of men with Italian suits and bulges in their pockets. That doesn't necessarily make them gangsters.
The man you know as Merlin is a fake.
What do you mean, sweetie?
He's a murderer. He also uses the name Khan.
I am shocked, Mr. Stobart. Shaken. I took him to be a gentleman, a man of honor. You know, I'd rather like to assist you in stitching him up.
When did you last see Merlin?
It was no more than an hour ago. He came downstairs and spoke to that clerk chappie. Something passed hands. I couldn't see what exactly.
A briefcase?
No, smaller than that. A bundle of papers, perhaps. The clerk put it in the hotel safe and Merlin went out.
Are you sure you saw Merlin putting documents in the safe?
Yes, darling, positive.
I wonder what they were.
Obviously something of great importance.
Yeah. I'd sure like to get my hands on whatever it is. I'll bet they had something to do with Plantar's briefcase. Has Merlin returned to the hotel?
No, he hasn't. Are you going to search his room?
If I could get in there, I would. Would you distract the clerk while I borrow a key?
Are you asking me to aid you in a criminal act, darling?
Oh, no. It's the key to an empty room.
And why, may I ask, do you wish to gain access to an empty room? Do you plan to squat?
No, ma'am.
Scouts honor?
I was never in the Boy Scouts, ma'am.
No, you should have been. What were your parents thinking of? It's a fine way for a boy to get licked into shape. Now tell me, why do you want to get into that room?
It's next to the room the killer is using.
Ah, so you plan to eavesdrop on Merlin?
I was hoping there might be a connecting door.
I shouldn't think my feminine charms would be much use in this case, but a good dose of English arrogance might do the trick. I say, you there, flunky?
Oui, madame.
Listen carefully. You do understand English, don't you?
But of course, madame.
Good. I wish to deposit some jewelry for safekeeping.
I understand.
Are you quite certain?
Oh, bien sûr, madame.
Over to you, my dear.
Hi, ma'am.
Hello, George. What can I do for you now?
I got the key. Thanks for your help, ma'am. Do you want this key?
No, thank you, darling.
Do you want this key?
No, thank you, darling.
Are you here in Paris on vacation?
No, darling, I'm on holiday. I needed to get away after Algy's funeral.
I didn't realize you were mourning the loss of a loved one.
I'm not. He was my husband.
I'm sorry to hear about your husband's death.
You wouldn't be if you knew him, my dear. It gave me the opportunity to take a well-deserved holiday. Daphne suggested a change of scenery. Paris, she said. A wild romance is just what you need to take your mind off the inquest. Well, the closest I came to romance was being wooed by a drunken Breton chef. I must say I was disappointed with his coq au vin. Not at all what I was expecting. I was thinking of cutting my holiday short, packing my bags and heading back to Hemel Hempstead. That was until last night.
What happened to you last night?
I was stricken, Mr. Stobart. Cupid's arrow has cleft my bosom.
They couldn't really miss.
It was just as I'd always imagined it should be. The intimacy of candlelight, romantic music tinkling across the room, and then a stranger's glance, those brooding eyes, that suave manner, those tight trousers. He was the man I'd been waiting for all my life.
I'm glad he finally turned up after all these years.
Ah, but it wasn't to be. He was merely toying with my affections. And if I ever catch up with him, he's dead.
I have to go, ma'am. Maybe it wasn't the right room, but this was the right key. It was a massive mahogany wardrobe. There was nothing in the wardrobe apart from a vague, lingering smell of camphor. A cabinet stood beside the bed. The cabinet was empty, but it smelt of onions. No kidding, it really did. The window looked out over a narrow alley surrounded by high walls. The cobbles of the alleyway looked very distant and very hard. If I wanted my shins sticking out of my shoulders, I could have jumped. Mama Stobart didn't raise no suicidal fools, though. The cabinet had no drawers, just a single door. The assassin had been too smart to leave incriminating evidence beside his bed. The closet was a solid, impressive piece of antique furniture. The bed was several times larger than the narrow cot I'd been given at the place I was staying. The bed was freshly made, and the crisp white sheets told me nothing about the killer's habits. The door led back into the hall, idiot. It was the battered leather briefcase I'd seen Plantar carrying just before he died. I searched the interior of the briefcase, but as I'd half expected, it was empty. There was nothing in the pockets of the pants. The pants were newly laundered and pressed with immaculate creases. I had the kind of feeling in my stomach that would usually send me running to the bathroom. The pants matched the jacket which the killer had lost in Paris. I couldn't believe my luck when I found 2 items in the pockets of the pants. The first was an ordinary matchbook. No matches, no clues. The second was a pass card which read, Thomas Merlin, Gruber Electronics Corporation. There was nothing else in the pockets of the killer's pants. There was no one registered under the name of Khan, but the name in the book for room 22 was Merlin.
What now, monsieur?
I'd like to retrieve something from your safe.
Ah, oui, monsieur. May I see some form of identification?
Like what?
A driving license, perhaps?
I don't drive.
Your passport?
I don't have it with me. I could show you my operation scar.
I'm sorry, monsieur. I must have some form of unique ID.
You won't find a more unique ID than my scar.
I'm sorry. I must insist on a more traditional identification.
Rats. Does this pass mean anything to you?
That is Monsieur Merlin's property.
That's right. Merlin the murderer. I want to see what he's left in your safe.
Impossible. I cannot betray his confidence, no matter what you say he's done.
You're making a big mistake.
Maybe. I can live with that.
Does this matchbook mean anything to you?
No, monsieur.
Do you recognize this key?
That is the property of the Hotel Ubu.
Correct.
May I ask how it found its way from the little hook to your pocket?
Would you believe it was put there by a poltergeist?
No, monsieur. The hotel is regularly serviced by an exorcist. If we had a ghost, Father Fécond would have flushed it out.
I suppose you want the key back.
Not especiellement. The room is vacant. Since you are so determined to conduct your little investigation, I won't stop you.
Thanks for your help, buddy. Hello again. Do you recognize this card?
No, I do not.
Does the name on this matchbook mean anything to you?
Indeed it does, for Alamut was the home of the old man of the mountains. You do not know him?
No, I don't. Tell me again about Alamut.
It is the home of the old man of the mountains.
Do you recognize this key?
No, I do not.
Thanks for your help.
Goodbye.
Hi, ma'am.
Hello, George. What can I do for you now?
I found this pass in Merlin's room.
So, that deceitful little man is passing himself off as an electrician, is he?
Uh-huh. This guy probably has a million faces. I showed the pass to the clerk, hoping he'd give me Merlin's papers, but he wouldn't buy it. He's too scared.
I'll give him something to be scared of. Follow me, George! Did you place a package from Merlin in the hotel safe?
I did, madame.
And did my friend here show you Merlin's identification?
Indeed he did, but
What's the problem?
he isn't Merlin.
A mere academic detail. Give him the package.
But that is against the law.
I happen to be a justice of the peace, you silly man. I am the law. If he tries anything, shoot him, George.
My pleasure, Lady Piermont.
One moment, please.
You know, I haven't enjoyed myself this much since Greenham Common.
I don't know what I would have done without you, Lady Piermont.
Voilà, monsieur. Le manuscrit de Monsieur Merlin.
Thanks.
How satisfying. An Anglo-American alliance that actually worked.
The clerk had given me a tightly rolled sheet of parchment. I decided not to unroll it until I was safely back in Nico's apartment. Hi, ma'am.
Hello, George. What can I do for you now?
I found this matchbook in Merlin's bedroom.
It came from the Club Alamut. It might be useful to find out if that club is in Paris, George.
I have to go, ma'am.